Stop. I can't take it anymore.
Oh, I do the live ones too. Yes, I know. I saw your act in the theater. You're really quite good.
Quite a certain harmful habit.
Stop it now, I mean it.
I don't think he felt anything.
Hello and welcome back. We are breaking up with RBS. This is episode number 55, and I am Tawny Santabria.
And I am JDK Winnikin, here to debunk the junk. And I was flying in today.
You were flying in today?
Yeah, arms
you're
outstretched.
You're an airplane today?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I did that all the time when I was a kid. And there are many times I'm walking around out in public, I still want to do that.
Nice.
Because it's fun to pretend to be an airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe you actually are an airplane.
It's an existential question.
Yeah.
Thanks to all of you for joining us. If you're listening live, good morning. If you are listening as a podcast, thank you so much for subscribing and leaving us a review. We really appreciate it. You can also find us at our YouTube channel, Breaking Up with RBS. You can kind of see what we look like and what this looks like. You can also find our Facebook group of the same name and get content in between sessions and interact with our larger community. Also, Tawny's got a 6-week self-mastery course that you can sign up for and start really seeing how all of this applies to you specifically. And that's really fun. And you can find that at unperfectyourself.com.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Tawny, how are you? How was your week?
My week was, I can't remember it. You know, that's that question. Always, how was the week? I can't remember.
Well, I remember because last week we ended the show with, you asked a big question. We were talking about birthdays. Why don't we celebrate the day that we're born on, yours being a Monday, mine being a Thursday, every week? Why do we wait for this big event?
Right.
That, as they say, cooked my noodle. I was like, that's true. Why don't we do that? Right? Yeah. And there's all these different answers, right? It's culturally, it's supposed to be once a year, blah, 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 blah. But there's also people who celebrate like half birthdays for their kids and stuff like that. So that really cooked my noodle. And then I started thinking about, okay, let's say if I did do that, A, what would I call it? B, what would I do? Do I need to do the same thing every week? Do I just need to do one thing every week? What would it be like? What I will say is I like the idea.
Yes.
So did you spend any time thinking about that at all?
I did. And I really appreciated that it was Monday, the day I was born, because it's right after the weekend.
I know you're lucky.
So then I get an extension kind of, right? And so I was really appreciative of that and grateful and spent a little bit of time with that emotion, right? Certainly. And yeah, I think that, you know, in the spirit of self-care, right? In the spirit of like, you know, finding ways to help ourselves relax, recharge, renew. We don't want to wait for the once a year. We don't want to wait for the vacation that's scheduled. We don't want to wait for the summertime. We don't want to wait. We do want some of this on a regular basis. So if we were to pick a day, the day we were born, and use, even in a small way, some kind of something for that day that allows us to recognize, okay, I'm taking care of myself here in a way that I enjoy and I value.
Yeah.
Some Mondays I'll just take the whole day off and do whatever the heck I want. And maybe other Mondays I'm just like, I'll make myself a really delicious dinner or have an extra snack that I have been looking forward to, or meet up with somebody that I have to make special arrangements to do that with, but something a little bit extra that I could have and maybe in the past would have said like, oh, I don't have time for that. Yeah.
Yeah, just the very act of intentionally thinking about it or choosing something, to me, is what was really attractive about the whole thing, right? And so part of me really likes that. So I've been wondering about it, and I had kind of similar thoughts, like maybe on a given Thursday, it's, you know what, I haven't talked to that person in a while. I'm going to call them. That's what I'm going to do because I really want to connect with them, you know. Or maybe I take the morning off and I get up early and I go hiking, or I go swimming, or maybe I do have a set thing that I do on those days as a reminder, right, for self-care. I like that a lot because the more time goes by, the more I'm realizing that daily self-care, you know, intentional, goes so far, way farther than, you know, driving myself into the ground for months at a time, playing for the weekends in the short term, the longer weekends, the 3-day weekends in the longer term, and the 2 weeks of vacation every year.
Yep.
Because it seems like that cycle can really sort of, after a while, beat people down, or they get cynical about it, or they feel trapped in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many clients over the years have said, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. And if you have a job that requires a whole lot of hours, and then you have a family, and then you have your travel, and then you have whatever that is in your life, right? We can put off ourselves over and over and over again. We typically do.
Yeah.
And maybe we need something that could help us to refocus, that makes sense, that almost gives us, sometimes I think we need to have an excuse to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we don't really want to wait until we're sick for that excuse, right? Like don't wait for that, because it will happen.
It will.
If we don't do it beforehand.
That's true. That's true. I like this idea. So like you're excited about Mondays because it's right after the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I could get excited about Thursday because it's just before the weekend. So if I set myself up well on Thursday, I might be helping myself on Fridays. And let's be honest, Fridays feel different than every other day of the week because it's Friday.
Oh, so you're going to extend it into Friday.
I can extend it into Friday. Like I'm coming into Friday.
I see.
In a different, a rejuvenated self-care mindset.
And then you're going to do like half day Friday. I see. And so you're basically going to try to get a 4-day weekend out of this.
Why would I not try that?
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
But not necessarily a weekend, but just the intentionality of self-care on a Thursday, letting that cascade into Friday, and being able to rest
absolutely
on a weekend, or do something, or find some sort of combination of activity and rest, because we do need that, right? We just knowing about health, we do need rest. We also need activity. We need movement.
Yep.
Those types of things. There's some about Thursday could set me up for, and then that way I only have to deal with like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of that.
Right. So you've got a real short week to have to worry about this. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Lucky you.
I suppose people can get real cynical about that, but nevertheless. But that's, I guess, isn't that sort of what you're talking about? Is that's an intentional choosing of how to frame something.
Yep.
And we have that power all the time. If we choose to recognize it.
Yeah. Right. We just made this up last week.
I know.
We just made it up that we could take our weekday that we were born and use it differently.
That's right.
It's nothing out there says we can or not. We're just made it up and decided, that's kind of what we might want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's probably a million different ways to splice that. I mean, just as different as every single human being is, there's going to be different ideas of what to do.
Absolutely.
Instead of like the assigned things. Have you noticed that we kind of like to assign things today? Is like, even jokingly, Tuesday is Taco Tuesday.
I love Taco Tuesday, though. I don't want to get rid of Taco Tuesday, but yes, I get what you're saying.
Right, and then Thursdays, Thirsty Thursdays. Right, that was always in college.
Thursday.
You started
Thursdays.
drinking on Thursday.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Thirsty Thursdays, and bars would always have deals on Thursdays, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then I don't know what Monday is. Monday's just blah, right? Because it's Monday.
I could be okay with not having the Friday fish day or something. Is that a thing?
It still is in some circles.
Yeah.
I've never gotten it.
Okay.
Like I've never.
I don't need that one. But the Taco Tuesday's good. But we can get rid of some of these other ones.
Well, first of all, nobody can ever ask me to give up beef. I don't care what day of the week it is. That's just me. It's an intentional choice.
Yes.
So I know in some quarters it still is. Like, Fridays are fish days, but nah.
Yeah. So we do like to assign things.
We do. We do. And then, depending on the time of year, right, Sunday is football day in the fall. Right? And Saturday is errand day or mow the lawn day or whatever. I guess there's nothing wrong with those things but to put everything into just, I have to get through this, and then my self-care will come.
When I have time. I love this one. When I have time. And I love to ask, when will that be?
It's a great question.
I love it.
When will that be?
When will that be? Right, because it doesn't magically show up.
It doesn't.
If we don't have time right now, time is not going to magically show up, because guess what? We're doing something that is making us believe that we don't have time.
Yeah, a choice.
Yeah, that's not going to magically change tomorrow when I wake up and then I have this time to do the things that I keep putting off. It doesn't happen.
Nope. Nope. Yeah, and I can notice it even just, I mean, I'm just answerable to myself, right? I don't have a partner or kids that I'm wrangling or, bouncing back and forth with. And it's still already a challenge, right, with that. So, depending on what you have in your life and what responsibilities you have, I can see that being really challenging, right? Well, my kids need to do this, this, and this, so I have to do this.
Yes.
Therefore, I don't have time for this.
Yes.
And yet, I think what your question, when will that be, requires an openness to the idea of maybe before you're making the choices of what the kids need to do and when, yourself should be included in that.
Exactly. And I think just resolving ourselves to believing that I'll get to it when I have time. Just that is sort of a myth because it's not going to arise. So if we want to come from the perspective of like, okay, I don't have time, right? Like, okay, let me deal with reality here. I don't have time. How do or my belief is that I don't have time. How do I deal with my time in a way that allows me to fit in and, the things that I prioritize, right? In an aware state, just waiting for something to arrive is not the answer.
As if time is just going to grant you, here you go, here is an hour, just out of my own benevolence.
Right. And even if it did, would I even notice it?
Right. Yeah, it seems like, because that idea, even the phrasing, like we talk so many times on this show about the power of words. That phrase, when I have time, is very different from when I make time, isn't it? Just one word shift, because make implies power, ability, choice, and intention. Have, it has to just emerge out of the ether. I'm joking about it just bestowing, but that's the idea.
Yeah.
It's like, when I magically have time, like as if anybody who says that sits back and goes, you know what? I have absolutely nothing else to do right now. That never happens for somebody from that mentality, because they're probably already filling it with something else.
Well, and there's lots to fill it with.
Yeah.
And lots to fill it with that maybe isn't really actually what we'd like to fill it with. We just do because we're not paying attention. Right. Yeah. So my my suggestion is that we probably do have some time for that thing that we want to value, desire, whatever it is that are intrigued by, whatever the word is that we'd like to can benefit from, whatever it is that we decide to describe that as. We've got the time. It's just about how do we use the time. Are we wasting the time? Are we spending the time? Are we investing the time? What are we doing?
Right.
Right.
And how well do we understand that it's ours to do with what we choose, as opposed to having it being bestowed or it somehow exists independently of us? Because it doesn't. It doesn't. It reminds me of when you and I were discussing a long time ago my horrible at the time sleep habits. And the story I used to have about, well, the less I sleep, the more I have to do other things, right? Because I'm so busy. Yes. And it's like, yes, it was a bit like steering the Titanic, right? Trying to get it to turn left before it hit the iceberg. Fortunately, this Titanic missed the iceberg. But what I came to see by putting myself onto a better sleep schedule was the quality of the time that I had, and my ability to be aware of how to use my time just went up exponentially when I started getting better sleep.
Yeah.
And as a result, I'm spending my time more intentionally, more positively than I ever have before. It's kind of the thing we're talking about, right? That's one case specific to me, but that is something.
Certainly, if we start with sleep and our goal is increased energy, right? If we've got increased energy, however we're maneuvering through time, we're going to experience something very different in that than if we are depleted and we're maneuvering through time. I mean, we've all experienced this, right? When we are depleted and burnt out, the time feels very different than when we have energy and we're maneuvering.
Yep.
Right? We can all understand the difference there. And so that's our relationship to time.
And of course, that's a relationship to ourselves when we're talking about sleep and being depleted or having enough.
Absolutely.
Right? And certainly there's plenty to say about the chemical components of the body that, better, all that fits together. But just on a fundamental level, something like that, saying I don't have enough time, you ignore the question, the possibility of actually if you take more time for something as important as sleep, what you're actually quote unquote able to do or get done, or how you get done, or how you view it will become different and is more positive, it seems to me. That's why for me now, it's like when I'm getting to the point, you're going to laugh hysterically at this and gloat. I just know it. As I'm getting close to my bedtime every night, I'm like, I got to go to bed.
Yeah.
I got to go to bed. Whereas once upon a time, I was like, I don't want to go to bed. I was like the little kid.
Those
revenge sleepers.
Yes, those.
I would get revenge
rebels.
on the day.
Those,
staying up
I
late.
know, those sleep rebels,
Brutal.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, that to me is what's intriguing about this idea of how do we choose what our days look like, whether it's a day we're celebrating every week for ourselves or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Because
it is something that's super easy to ignore. We all have things pulling at us. We all have responsibilities. We all have things we're trying to do. And of course, we have all the anxieties and all the things that come. We have all the things that we're paying attention to outside of us. It's easy for that to get lost.
Yes. So I'm thinking about this as an example. So if I take Mondays, my commitment to myself is going to be I'm not going to worry about the week coming up.
Oh, I like that.
Right? Because we all experience this Sunday anxiety, right?
The Sunday dreads.
Yes, moving into the week where we're sort of overthinking about all the things that haven't gotten done last week, still need to get done, or anticipating this, or feeling overwhelmed by all the things, right? That depletes us. It doesn't make us more productive.
No.
We're not going to start out the week uber productive because we spent all day Sunday worried about it. Promise you. You'll probably lose sleep, right? So then you won't be really fresh when you go back to work. So my Monday then is going to be, I'm not going to worry about the week. I don't typically anyway, so it's going to be easy for me, but I'm just demonstrating this.
How big of a hurdle is that for you, Tawny?
Take all the easy things. No, but I'm just demonstrating this, right? So doesn't mean I wouldn't work on Monday, but I'm really going to focus and pay attention to what am I doing up here in my thinking space that is going to deplete my energy or rev me up for no reason. Thinking about something that I'm not ready to take action on yet, right? Unless I'm really trying to weigh out, I need to get more information about a thing to be able to help me to make a decision. But I'm talking about the ruminating. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got to do that thing. I got to do that thing. I got to do that thing. I got to do that. But I'm not going to do the thing right now is a complete waste of time and energy.
Yes.
You don't need to overthink and ruminate about the thing that you're going to do on Tuesday. You just wait till Tuesday and you do the thing on Tuesday, right? So all of that time that you've spent up until then, I used to do this a lot. Just because I think I wanted whatever happened on Tuesday to go well.
Sure.
Or to be able to do. And so, my brain running amok thought, I just think about this thing on Tuesday. I didn't even think about why I was even thinking about the thing. Because it's not like I was refining anything.
Sure.
Right? Just worried about the thing.
Right.
Right.
So we're talking about something different than if you have something on Tuesday and you need to do some prep for it, you do the prep. You're talking about the ruminating, spending filling some of that time bandwidth with concerns, stories.
Yes.
About
yes.
It's an easy thing to do.
So if your day, if you started with your day, so maybe Thursday for you, Monday's an easy one to be thinking about the week because we typically would do that at the beginning of the week. But on Thursday, you could be real intentional around what am I thinking about? Right. So you could even just start there.
Yeah.
Like you might not be worried too much about Friday, or ruminating about anything about Friday.
Oh man, yeah,
but you could be ruminating about, are you going to have your weekend plans or something?
Sure.
I don't know, right?
Sure.
There could be something. But if we all just started with okay, that day, I'm really going to pay attention to how my thinking process is depleting me, for example, right? So maybe part of the antidote to that, not all of it, part of it is to kind of distract ourselves with some movements, right? Or some things that we could do that we actually enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. From that space of intentionality and awareness of that. Yeah. what comes up for me is I think something on that would be whatever. I don't know what I would choose, but I know I would choose some sort of activity.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be moving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't like to sit around unless I'm writing. I don't really like to be sitting around very much. I like to move around. I enjoy that energy more. And so I think there'll be something having to do with that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So self-care for me, bodily wise,
Mm-hmm.
has become really important. And so I would see myself like thinking Wednesday night, bedtime into Thursday. Ooh, tomorrow's Thursday, whatever I'm going to call it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And you could just call it Thursday. It does, unless you have a
Always
fancy
catching me
name.
before I complicate something.
Right.
Come on, where's the fun in that?
Well, but you could call it something fun too.
Sure.
Whatever you want.
Or it
to
could
do.
just be Thursday.
It could be Thursday, and Thursday's your day, right?
Thursday's the power day, or
Yes.
Thursday's the something day.
Yeah, recharge day, or
Right.
we could
Refocus day, or-
however you want to do that.
Yeah, I got to think about that a little bit. But I mean, I know I love the idea of being intentional about that in some way. And then, of course, all the things that, you know, that I work on and focus on trying to do, they all interconnect in some way in my life. So it's not like I'm going to forget about it, right? It's
Yeah.
something to be there to remind me.
Yeah. But we want to make this sort of these shifts and changes and dealing with our BS stories sort of manageable for people. And I think that if we were saying things like, oh, yeah, as easy as this and 24/7 and get
Yeah.
those BS stories, you know, out of your head and things like that, then we would be off our rocker.
Yeah, we'd be contributing to the larger problem, right?
Totally.
We would be contributing to the story that you can just eliminate things outright.
Yeah.
Which so many things you can't, right? I always laugh when I hear the, do this for 21 days, it'll be a habit.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no. It takes months to integrate a new habit into everyday life.
Yeah.
But then you tell somebody that, oh, it's not 3 weeks, it's more like 6 or 9 or 10
or who knows?
Or who
because
knows?
we don't know what kind of plant you are.
What habits do plants have?
It could take you longer, and it's okay.
Right.
That's
Right,
not
you
a
grow
problem.
at different rates. Right. Exactly.
Right. So that's the other part of it too. And then it has to go back to choices too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not this magical thing that's being done to me.
Right.
Right. Like 21 days. If I just do this without awareness for 21 days and then boom, I have a habit. No.
Be nice.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Right.
But that's not how it works. We actually have control.
Mm-hmm.
We have this. We have it in ourselves to make those choices. So even though I'm just, going through the motions, if internally I'm like, this is a bunch of BS as I'm going through the motions.
Right.
Do you think I'm integrating that?
Nope.
No, I'm integrating this is a bunch of BS.
Yep.
And it's probably not going to be something I'm
Right.
going to continue.
Or I hate that I'm doing this.
Yes.
All I got to do is hate this for 21 days, and somehow I'll stop hating it.
And it'll magically just easily and seamlessly fit into my day, and away I go, and I never have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not how
No.
that works.
Yeah.
So that's the other part. So these simplistic kinds of things
Mm-hmm.
that we just don't feel or are hearing that we don't really have to have an awareness of
Mm-hmm.
are probably too simple to work.
Yeah, and it's also, I think, the idea of just saying, okay, I want to do this, so I'm just going to start doing that, and I'm just going to burn through it no matter what I'm doing, rather than trying things out. I've spent a lot of time recently, spending a lot more intentional time on the food I'm eating. Not just, am I eating healthy or am I not eating healthy, but paying attention to how I feel with certain foods. Because there are certain foods that I know now aren't helping me as much, or I don't feel as good as they used to, or the next day after I eat them, or just a few hours later, I feel different. Well, maybe I'll try this. I tried a recipe the other day that some people had told me, this is really good. If you like it, it'll be a great staple. I tried it, and it was the worst thing I've ever had in my life. I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus here. That ain't working. I'm not eating that train wreck of a dish. First of all, it's expensive to put together. Second of all, it just didn't taste good to me.
It just was trash.
Oh my God. And I tell my friends this, and they're like, how can you not like that? Real simple, actually. Really easily.
All I did was take the first bite, and I didn't like
And
it.
it was garbage. Right. Exactly. But that's the type of thing, so instead of that, once I was done laughing and, giving my friends grief about it, okay, what is it that's in that's helpful? Maybe I can try something else out.
Yeah. Or maybe you never never want to hear about it ever again. Your choice.
I never want to. Just give me a salad. What's wrong with a salad?
I never want to see that. Don't ever say that word in front of me
Some
again.
Basics. Lettuce, vegetables. Anyway. Okay. Well, what an interesting set of things to be considering. Just how we spend our time, that relationship to how we understand. Do we have time? Do we make time?
Yeah.
Active choice, once again, is the difference maker.
Yes. Awareness.
Awareness.
Right. Being able to see clearly. And so that's the part of that. That's part of the reason why we do this, right? If we have momentary sort of lifting of the BS stories, we can see clearly for a moment. Yes. And then the BS stories come back and then we do what we want to do with that. But that clarity is so important for us to be able to choose wisely for us, depending on what plant we are.
Right. Right. And if in a given moment we don't choose wisely, we don't have to, we can just, when it comes up again, we can choose differently the next time. That's all it has to mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I love about it, right? There's no penalty unless it's self-imposed.
That is for our next show.
Oh, okay.
Self-imposed penalties.
Self-imposed penalties. See, you threw something in at the end last time. I threw it in this time.
Yep.
So, all right. So, self-imposed penalties. All right. Now I got something else to think about.
Just, it'll come back to you.
Okay.
Just no pressure.
All right. Well, thanks to all of you out there listening to this. Pick a day. Pick what plant you are. We got so many mixed metaphors going on right now. It's fabulous. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to seeing you next time on another episode of Breaking Up with RBS. Until then, I'm JDK Winnikin.
And I am Tawny Santabria.
Great to see you. Thanks for showing up. See ya.
Stop. I can't take it anymore.
Oh, I do the live ones too. Yes, I know. I saw your act in the theater. You're really quite good.
Quite a certain harmful habit.
Stop it now, I'm needed.
I don't think he felt anything after the crash.